A lot of you might already know that you can pull red buff into this bush and hide it like this, which can be especially good to protect yourself from invades or even when you're invading yourself. Also common knowledge is that you can pull blue buff together with Gromp and do them at the same time in this position here. However, did you know about blue buff and this bush? Or what about blue and wolves at the same time? Red and raptors at the same time? Or even Rift Herald in the bush? When you try it, you might find yourself in situations like this where it seems like you're doing it right, but the camp just runs back anyways. With this video, you'll never make that mistake again. And this is just the first tip we'll be explaining today in our list of hidden jungle mechanics that you need to know. Stick around and find out even more cool tips and tricks. Let's get right into it. Starting out, we need to understand how monster leash ranges work and also the patience meter, as those are the two things that are going to affect you pulling these tricks off. Every jungle camp and epic monster has a radius from the camp spawn in which the monster will not lose patience. As you play the game, you'll get a feel for exactly where these areas are, but we're showing you them here, so feel free to pause if you want to study and see the exact ranges. If the patience meter ever reaches 0, the camp will reset and you'll facepalm, feeling really stupid, but don't worry, it happens to pros too. However, the important distinction to make here is that it doesn't matter where the camp is, rather it matters where you are standing. As long as you're inside of the camp's leash radius, you'll be able to pull the camps to crazy locations like the blue bush we showed you earlier. However, to do this, you will have to step outside of the leash radius briefly and then walk back into it. This will cause the monster that you're leashing to lose patience momentarily, but don't be alarmed. When the patience meter is full, you have 4 seconds that you can stand outside of the ring where it won't reset. The meter will drop over time, but as long as it doesn't hit 0, you're good to go. In this clip, we can easily pull the blue and the wolves together by walking outside of the ring briefly and then back into it. Notice how the blue doesn't lose patience when the wolves do, as we kited within the blue's leash radius. You'll often see high elo players clear camps like this, where they let the patience meter run completely out and get as far out of the radii as possible before killing the camp to save the most amount of time. If you're confident that you'll be able to kill the camp within 4 seconds of leaving the zone, then go for it and you'll speed up your clear a large amount. Because the leash radii overlap with other camps sometimes, there are very small and specific spots that you can stand in order to do multiple camps at the same time, which obviously has a ton of benefits when it comes to clear speed and overall efficiency. We're showing you those spots now, so again, feel free to pause and analyze if you'd like. While some of these leash spots and abusing the patience meter let you speed up your clear by letting you kill camps from way outside the normal spot closer to your next camp, some of them will have benefits like hiding information from the enemy. If you pull Krugs into this bush while counter jungling, you can save yourself a huge headache. Normally, enemy minions will see you if you just do Krugs in the regular position, so by pulling them to the right, you can stay completely hidden off the map. In a game of incomplete information, that's everything. In addition, you'll be able to have knowledge of who enters the bush, since you'll already be in it, which saves you the headache of having to ward it or risk dying to an enemy bot lane ambush. Of course, you can also pull them down if you're on blue side and want to be closer to your tower, or if you're just clearing up and want to move on to your next camp quicker, pull them up like this. Be careful though, camps do lose patience when you are too far away from them, even if you're inside of the ring. This gets especially messy when near walls, like by Krug's camp, because the distance is not determined by the distance point to point, but the path in which the monster has to walk. So if it has to turn a corner to get to you, it's going to behave a bit differently than you might expect. Just kite a bit slow and don't run super far away right from the start. Let monsters catch up to you and you won't have an issue. Even epic monsters have their own patience meters that can be abused, although they work slightly differently from normal camps. Rift Herald has 10 patience bars and takes longer to reset than the others. Dragon unfortunately works totally differently and actually has 2 separate patience radii. The first is an area around the dragon just like other camps, and if there are no targets within the ring, the dragon will reset. The second ring is the area at which dragon will not walk past, even if there are targets within the radius. If it hits any point on the outside of the circle, it's going to reset. This can definitely be abused in great ways. Did the enemy ward the pit over the wall? Just pull the dragon out past the wall, and now the enemy can't see the dragon's health bar anymore. You can do the exact same thing with Rift Herald like we showed earlier, and you can pull this super far out to the bush. Again, just remember you have to be within the radius. Remembering exactly how that works is going to be a huge help when it comes to figuring out when camps will actually reset or not. So with that out of the way, let's get on to some different topics. Increasing your clear speed is obviously a big topic of discussion when it comes to jungling because you literally do it every game. If you know how to optimize your clear, you will always be saving time over your opponents, which will just make plays possible that weren't before. There are a few tricks that you can use to help. The first is to optimize your jungle camp's burn damage when killing the camp. As you get stronger, your jungle item will do more damage, but for the most part in the early game, it's going to be doing around 40 damage before Monster's patience fully depletes over 4 seconds. Let's use an example clip of Graves killing Raptors. As I walk up to the camp right away, my main goal is to hit everything and get my Seer passive proccing on everything in the camp. After this, I want to time it so that the whole camp dies at the same time. There's no point in me hitting the little raptors right now because even if I kill them all, I'll still be left with the large one to deal with. It's way more efficient to have red buff and Seer burning on multiple targets instead of just one. And also, I want my Q to hit as many targets as well, since I get additional damage out of it when it's hitting more things. For efficiency's sake, AoE should hit as many targets as possible. Because of this, I try my best to hit only the large raptor after I start and let my burn damage do the work on the smalls. I can kill the entire camp all at once with my second Q, which is all due to letting the burn do the work for me and optimizing my AoE damage. We can also use the burn to help finish off camps and walk way out of the patience range. Hecarim and Lilia have passives on their Qs that incentivize us using our abilities to last at the camp to maintain their stacks, but other champions without this can still walk away and let the burn just finish it off. Let's go back to the 40 damage point I made earlier. If you left click the camp, you'll be able to see exactly how much health it has remaining. You'll need to factor in your Seer passive burn as well as any other dots like red buff, but once it's below the health where it will just die, walk away and let the burns just take care of it for you. The only exception to this is on blue and red buffs, as the burn will actually leave the camp at 1 health to allow you to donate buffs to other players. However, this can actually hurt you a lot when it comes to your clear speed and can make you waste an extra auto or an ability when you don't need to. To play around this and speed up your clear, we can figure out how much damage we do with our autos and wait for the burn to bring it below that threshold. As we watch this clip, notice that I do 90 damage on every auto attack. So once the camp gets to around 130 or 40 damage above that threshold, I don't have to hit it anymore. Here, if I use another auto, I'll either have to use my E, Q, or wait for a reload before I can kill it, since the burn would only take it to 1 health even if I autoed now. To avoid this, I'll let the camp burn out now and then hit it once it goes under 90 HP. This saves me from having to use an ability and also lets me kite all the way to the Gromp and be ready to hit it immediately, instead of having to walk over later. We can see a very similar thing be useful on other champions like Elise, since you can't kite camps in melee form or your spiders die and you'll lose DPS. This means that you'll want to switch forms right at the end of the camp and kite away only at the end. I would have had to use 2 autos here if I didn't wait for Seer to do its magic. At the very start of this camp, I autoed in human form once as I used W, which now means that I know I do 45 damage. Later on, if I auto here, I'd have to use a second auto which would slow me down, or I'd have to use W, which means it wouldn't be up if I wanted to do Raptors afterwards. Once again, letting it burn saves me the time and lets me get far away from the camp at the same time. I only have to use 1 auto now, and everyone is happy. Did you know that with the new jungle changes, it's actually not possible to 5 camp into a crab and get level 4 like the good old days? However, if you want to 5 camp and get to crab right as it spawns, you can make a tiny adjustment and actually still get level 4. If you clear one side like normal, and then only clear out 1 baby raptor or 1 little wolf, you'll actually just get barely enough experience in order to hit level 4 after the crab and get to a gank. So if your goal is to just get the crab off the map and have level 4 ASAP, this is a really nice adaptation that you can do. One big benefit is that it leaves up a camp to do on the same side of the map. So after you take crab, you can just go back to your jungle if there aren't any ganks and grab that last camp. You don't risk losing both crabs like this and you'll be able to fight over Scuttle. If the other player doesn't know about this, you can surprise them with the level up where they normally might think it isn't possible for you to have it. Alright, and that brings us to the end of the guide. We hope that you learned something cool, and if there are any neat tips or tricks that you think other people should know, definitely leave it in the comment section below. Who knows? You might get a shout out if we use it in a future video.
So you might be asking yourself, why go to SkillCapped.com to improve when I could just watch YouTube guides or play the game? Well, let me show you. Let's say you're a jungler who's struggling to climb the ladder. Not only would you get over 40 site-exclusive courses for jungle, but maybe really what you've been struggling with is ganking as a jungler. Well, we got you covered with 4 different courses breaking down how to gank when you're jungling. Not only do we have the largest catalog of guides for League of Legends in the entire world with over 1,500 videos to watch, but these are then curated by the top coaches and players into courses on every skill and topic you need to master in order to truly improve and climb the ladder. If all of this wasn't enough, we haven't even touched on our catalog of over 700 Smurf commentaries, where a challenger expert shows you how to climb out of your rank, and you're guaranteed to get any questions answered by them directly. Not to mention, we're the only service to offer a rank improvement guarantee. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a refund, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Head to SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.